From Florida's capital, this is Power Play.
A deep fiscal crisis and budget cuts, the bleak backdrop for the 2008 session of the Florida legislature. Governor Charlie Crist goes prime time with the State of the State. Senator John McCain wraps up the GOP nomination for president. Will our Governor Crist be at his side? And will Florida Democrats get a do-over in their vote for president? All that and more on Power Play this week with our guests, Marianne Lindley, editorial page editor of the Tallahassee Democrat, and Steve Bosquet, Capitol Bureau Chief of the St. Pete Times. But first, the 2008 legislative session. What kind of session is it going to be?
Ugly, because they've already cut almost more than $500 million already, Ron, and they've got to turn right around now and cut $2 billion, maybe $2.5 billion as they build a budget for next year. And they're cutting and cutting, and legislators like to be able to say what they brought home to their constituents. There's nothing to bring home this year.
But you really have parallel universes operating over there, too. You've got the House against the Senate. You've got both of them against the governor. You've got the Democrats clawing at the window, trying to get their nose in the door, and it's going to be very, very unsettling and good for journalism.
In the last 20 years, have we seen a session that starts out with this kind of crisis?
No, because we've never had in the last 20 years this unusual blip where you've had 2 years in a row with less money coming in than you had the year before. That's unheard of in Florida. And this talk about living within our means and getting by with less rhetoric is going to begin to wear very thin because the effect of these spending reductions is going to start to be felt back home.
Well, and as you said, the rank and file, I think, of the membership's going to eventually rise up and say, hey, we have to do something for the folks back home, and that's not going to be happening if it's cut and chop, rein in, no taxes, that's the taboo.
Governor Crist, historically high ratings, 71%, almost unbelievable, goes for a 6 o'clock speech for the State of the State, which is kind of historic. How did that turn out?
Well, I heard some people were listening to it on the drive home, so we got a little bit of his open government access points that he wanted to try to promote on that. But I don't know if he made any headway. It seemed like he de-emphasized the session and took the luster out of opening day.
Two things. He took the stage at the tail end of the news cycle. The session had actually already begun. They hadn't done very much, but the session does begin at 11 o'clock in the morning on the opening day. He takes the stage at 6 p.m., and it really didn't get a whole lot of extra TV coverage. Secondly, it was not a great speech. It was okay. It was not Charlie Crist at his best. It didn't really have any really inspiring moment in it.
Even some of the Republicans were apologizing later, saying, well, he must have had old information and he wasn't up to date on how bad things are.
But good instincts, the people's governor, to try and reach more people, and I think that was interesting. Okay, Senator John McCain wraps up the nomination for the GOP presidential nomination this week. The vice presidential talk always includes Governor Crist. Where's that sweepstakes now?
He's still out there as a name, but he's out there as one of a half dozen names. McCain said that he hasn't even begun the process yet of a vetting.
McCain said, I thought, damning, he said, well, I think Charlie Crist is a wonderful governor, and there are a lot of roles he could play to serve the American people. And I thought that was a blow-off.
But just this week, raising a lot of money with Senator McCain in Florida. Right. Pretty key.
The conventional wisdom, often wrong, is that Charlie Crist's name will be out there till the very end, and he won't get chosen.
And he won't get chosen. I can't see it.
Okay. On the other side of the aisle, Florida Democrats talking about a do-over, voting for a presidential nominee where it might actually count. Where's that stand this weekend?
Well, here again, Charlie Crist on the side of the Angels saying every vote should count. And you think if you have a do-over vote in Florida, who does it help? It helps Hillary Clinton, the Democrat that a lot of Republicans would rather run against. I sense, as we head into the weekend, I sense a growing sense that they're going to try to work out some deal to have a mail-in ballot for Democrats.
And where's that money going to come from?
It would come from the party and maybe a little bit from the state, but I don't know how the state can...
The state's not going to pay for that at this point in time. I think it makes the Democrats look more disorganized than ever and just a little bit crazy. I mean, I can't see what they're thinking. The Democrat National Committee looks childish. I thought Steve Geller was right on the money on that. And, we kind of made a bad call, and we're living with it.
Final note, Senator Villalobos with a proposal to punish lobbyists who lie in front of legislative committees with jail terms. Where's that going?
His BS detector ring isn't working because that just shows him to be a person who's not as advanced, I don't think, on the issues as the lobbyists are.
Legislators in Florida are in the business of being on good terms with lobbyists, not bad terms with lobbyists. It's not going to go very far.
Okay, more to come on Power Play next week. Thanks, Steve Bosquet, Marianne Lindley. Go to the Safety Review for all the latest political news.